from Atlanta. We are heading home, and I thought, since I get so many questions on what it's like to travel back to Canada, that I would vlog it for you guys and just show you guys the process, because I vlogged coming into the US, but looking back on it, like there wasn't anything special, so I feel like this might be a little more important in case you're looking to travel soon. So we are in Atlanta for the second time on this trip. We had a flight get canceled, so now we're taking 4 flights home. Yay. 8:40. Our next flight to Boston does not depart until 11:30, so we have some time to kill here. We just grabbed a coffee. Oh, I didn't realize, look at the cute stuff on the cup. We got coffee from Caribou Coffee. Look how cute the cup is though. And yeah, we're gonna go get bagels in the next little bit, and I'll show you guys filling out the Arrive Can app, which is the app you need to use to get back in the country. And I have to redo it because originally we were flying into Toronto and now we're flying to Montreal, so I have to redo our whole entering to Canada app arrival form. So I'll show you guys that after. And yeah, but we're just relaxing. That's playing Pokemon Go. Planes take off, and I'll probably chat with you guys when we're getting bagels and we're filling out our customs form, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So this is the app. Looks like this, and then you just enter like all the typical customs information. When you're filling it out, make sure that you either have it saved to your phone or you have a copy, because uploading it is what gives you the exemption from quarantining. So just make sure that you either have it on your phone, because you can just save it from your phone. Just do like us, we just decided to do a paper copy, but just make sure that you have that, because that's what you need to get exempt from quarantine. So yeah, individuals 5 and older are required to have proof of a molecular COVID test. Unless exempt, you have to have a quarantine plan. Blah blah blah. So I don't think you actually upload your COVID test in here. You just hit acknowledge, must show your COVID test. And then yeah, so I'm curious to see what happens, because actually I'll just say that after. For COVID, no. Do you have proof of a negative COVID test? Yes. You fill this out because technically it doesn't know if you're exempt or not yet.
And it's also a travel plans in case you do.
And in case you test positive. And lastly, COVID assessment. No. Show you, yeah, there's no information on here. Submit. And then it gives you this thing, which I mean, it's in the app, but I've just been screenshotting it, and then it shows that we're vaccinated. We got a seat upgrade. It's a great day. Maybe they felt bad for us that they canceled our flight and they gave us an upgrade. Right now on a scale from 1 to 10. Yeah, same. Alright, we're gonna walk over to the gate, and then I think when we get to Montreal we'll fill you guys in, because we're boarding. We literally just landed and had a sandwich, and that's all. Alrighty guys, we just made it to Montreal, and just like a word of advice is have your Arrive Can ready, and then stick all of your COVID information in your passports to make it easier, and it's like all in one place. I'm just waiting for Matt to get out of the bathroom. It was too big and I had to check it, and with the new Montreal system I have to go get it in arrivals, and then we have to go through security again. So, but yeah, if you have everything ready, I feel like it just makes it easier to have it in one spot, kind of divided up per person. But oh my gosh.
It's not less than 15.
Oh yeah, it just kind of looks a little chaotic. So I guess if you have a connecting flight, you just go into a different line, whereas that's probably people that are in Montreal. Made it to Montreal. It was an experience, I'd say. So we got here, and you just like do your declaration as normal, fill out your customs thing as normal. No one has any idea about the COVID testing. It's very unorganized, I will say that. If you're flying into Montreal, if you're flying anywhere else, it might be organized. Like our original flight was supposed to be in Toronto. I feel like that would have been organized. And just to know if your plane does get rerouted, when I called Travel Canada, they said that since we were coming out of Toronto, our COVID test turnaround would be 24 hours. and in Montreal it's 3 days. So take that into account if you think your flight's gonna get delayed like ours did, because yeah, we're kind of like chancing when our COVID test comes back. But then they just take you to do a COVID test. Like you can't miss it. You like walk through it, do your COVID test, and yeah. Also something new they make you do is I had to get my bag at customs, and then we had to go through security again instead of like the bag just meeting us in Ottawa, which was weird. But yeah, it was honestly just super unorganized. Like I thought by now maybe they'd like of things, because it's been like, I don't know what, 3 weeks since, a month now. It's been almost a month since they announced that if you're fully vaccinated you don't have to quarantine, but it was super unorganized. Like we would ask the lady if we had to fill out this COVID screening thing, she was like no, and then we get to the COVID place and they're like, where's your screening? And we're like, they told us not to fill it out. So it was a little unorganized, I'm not gonna lie, but I'll keep you guys posted on when we get our COVID test results back. We're waiting to board our plane to Ottawa. Also, they didn't tell us we had to quarantine. Did they say anything to you?
No.
She didn't say anything to us. So I'm like, do we even have, like, I'm gonna check. So they give you these little, I'm just gonna like try and make sure it doesn't have our address on it. This little thing for your COVID test. It has like a little password, so when you get the email, apparently you just enter the password and it gives you the results. But they didn't say anything about quarantining or anything. We're going to Ottawa now. Over here. Thank you.
Not bad.
Welcome to Ottawa. It is presently 18 minutes past 8 o'clock.
Hello you guys. So I'm finishing the vlog off now. I wanted to do like a little segment just answering some of the frequently asked questions I got on Instagram, because I feel like if one person's asking them, a bunch of people are probably thinking it. So our flight to Ottawa ended up getting delayed like an hour. We did not get home until 9 p.m. It was honestly the most hectic and awful travel day. We made it home. I didn't want to finish this off until we got our COVID results back, because I just thought that would be helpful. Like I said in the previous clip when we were in Montreal, that when I had called the Toronto airport, they said the turnaround time was 24 hours. And I mean, I'm saying this, but none of this applies after August 9th, I believe. I had read that after August 9th, you do not need to test negative when you get to the airport. You just need to have that negative test 72 hours before boarding your flight to Canada. It's Wednesday afternoon. It is, I don't know what time it is. I just finished work. I finally got our COVID results, so it's basically been the full 72 hours, even though at the airport they told us that there's like a 99% chance we'll have them after 24 hours. So just keep that in mind. I don't know if with the holiday it was a bit slower, but that's that. So we finally got our results. We're obviously negative. But I wanted to answer some of the questions that I got on Instagram, because like I said, if one person's thinking it, I bet you a bunch of other people are thinking it. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer the questions for you guys. And I just wanted to kind of sum up everything you need to go back and forth. So going into the US, 72 hours before your scheduled departure flight to the US, so not your first flight, but your flight that you're going into the US with, you need either a negative PCR or antigen test. Antigen tests are cheap. They're $40 at Shoppers Drug Mart or certain pharmacies. I highly suggest getting that one and not the PCR, because the PCR is like $170. And why would you pay that if you can pay $40 and whatnot? And if you guys watched my traveling to the US video, they did not ask us for it anywhere. The Air Canada and the airline said we had to have the negative test, and so does like the CDC, but nobody checks it, which doesn't mean you don't need it. I'm just saying that nobody checked it for us. So get the antigen test, save some money. Home 72 hours prior to your scheduled departure flight to Canada. So if you have a connection in the US, it just applies to your flight to Canada. You need a negative COVID test. Your PCR, an NAAT, or any other COVID test that is not antigen. So basically antigen is the only type of test that is not accepted to get back into Canada. And then when you get to the airport, up until August 9th, because I don't know when this video is going up, you need to get tested at the airport and then go home, wait for those results. However, they told us that I don't know. It was very unclear if we had to quarantine or not after. So that is that. I'm trying to think of what else. Let's answer some questions and then I'll end this off. I know this is not going to be a video for like everyone, because it's not like fun and whatnot, but it's informational and I just thought it would maybe be helpful. So let's answer some cues. have the option to get throat swabbed rather than NP. No, that was not an option anywhere we went, any of our tests. It may be an option where you go, but it was not an option for any of our tests. Did you have to pay for your COVID test to come home? If so, how much? Okay, this is the question I got the most. We got tested at Walgreens. It's free. CVS is not free. But the thing with Walgreens is you have to have a card because it's drive-through only and it's by appointment. So you can only make your appointment 3 days before you need the test. We did ours at the exact 72-hour mark just to make sure. The turnaround time for the test was 1 hour, but like I said, I know it won't work for everyone, especially if you don't have a rental car where you're going. But there are other options that you can pay for, but Walgreens is free. They did not care that we were Canadian, honestly, at all. In a rude way, they don't care if you're Canadian or American. You can just get the free COVID test. And yeah, so we did it through Walgreens. I'll have the link down below to the site where we booked it. Like I said, 3 days before you need the test is when you can book it. And you have to book the ID Now NAAT test for the 1 hour turnaround for free. If you book the PCR test through Walgreens, you will have to pay with an American credit card. Okay, someone just asked cost for all your COVID tests. Our antigen test going to the US was $40. Our test coming home was free. And then the test at the airport was free. Was the antigen swab as uncomfortable deep as a PCR? I personally found that it was. I've had 9 PCR tests. I had a lot of COVID tests because I was exposed to COVID a lot working at the hospital. And I found it equally as uncomfortable. It definitely doesn't go into your brain, but like they go really deep up and they twist it for like 10 seconds on each nostril. Once again, every test is gonna be different. Every place you're gonna go is gonna be different, but I found it personally as uncomfortable as a PCR. A lot of these are the same questions that I've kind of answered. If the test is self-administered, how do you know you're doing it right? So at Walgreens, when you go through the drive-thru, they kind of show you how to do it and then they watch you do it. Matt is a nurse and I've had plenty of COVID tests, so I wasn't worried about not doing it right. And also it's very hard to mess it up. You just put the swab an inch into your nose, which is barely anywhere, and then you turn it 10 times or for 10 seconds in each nostril. Like you can't really mess it up, honestly. Were all of your flights full? Yes, they were all full. I did pay to upgrade some of our seats to the exit row where there's only 2 seats. But yeah, all of our flights were completely full. Like there was standby on all of our flights. Did you guys have fun? Yes, we had so much fun. I mean, we were very cautious, and I would say New Orleans, we were really anxious because Louisiana is a hotspot and we were in a touristy area, but we did have a ton of fun. Is the ArriveCan app confusing? It's very straightforward, like I showed you guys. It's super simple. I heard that they're rolling out a test that you can upload your results to the app. We didn't get that option. I'm not sure if it's just at random selection. We didn't have that option, but I know some people are able to upload their test results. We didn't, and don't worry if you can't, it's not an issue, because at first I was like, oh my God, something's wrong, but I think it's just at random right now where they're testing it out. Did your COVID test results come in time? Yes, a 1 hour turnaround for Walgreens. Everywhere's gonna be different though. I know some places PCR takes a few days, so that's why I'm happy we did the NAAT test because it was a 1 hour turnaround. So, did you feel like COVID was being taken seriously and safe when you're in the US? Yes and no. I mean, it's hard because they don't have a mask mandate, so they're not doing anything wrong by not wearing a mask, but in places that are hotspots, they are encouraging people to wear masks indoors, and that's not really respected, or people are just choosing not to. It's kind of hard when you use the word encourage. You can't force people. But in New Orleans, no one was wearing a mask inside pretty much. Like I can count on like one hand the amount of people we saw wearing masks our whole trip. We personally wore masks everywhere indoor, and then in outdoor settings when we were like passing people, just because it is crowded because it's touristy. But yes and no. I've said this before, but a lot of people in the airports don't even respect it, and that's like the only place that there's an actual mandate to wear a mask. And it's not enforced though. Like no one's going around like police or anything giving fines out, which I think they should, because if that's a federal mandate and no one's respecting it, like you're just letting people get away with it. And tons of people in the airports, it's not even just not wearing masks properly, it's just like not wearing them at all. But like yes and no, people are very courteous in terms of space. Like you're always gonna have those few people, and you also have them in Canada that just like don't care. But for the most part, people respected our space. No one like looked at us weird for wearing a mask. We went from a touristy spot to like just a town. Pensacola is not very touristy. I mean, it is a beach town, but that was a lot more respected there. A lot more people were wearing them indoors, since Florida is also a hotspot state right now. So I guess it just depends. Anyways, those are like kind of all the common questions I got. If you guys have any questions, you can obviously ask me down below. I will be happy to answer anything, or over DM if you don't want to do it publicly. I'm here to answer all your questions. Please keep in mind that this is only what is required as of the date right here. Things are subject to change at any point, backwards or forwards. But I hope this was helpful to anyone. I know it can be really confusing traveling to Canada from the US and vice versa right now. So I hope this was helpful to at least one person. And thank you guys so much for watching and tagging along on all our travel adventures. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.